Welcome to our guide on conducting a Riverfly monitoring kick sample. There's lots of interesting invertebrates living in rivers. Riverflies are invertebrates that spend most of their life cycle in a river, stream, pond or lake. There are many organisations that work together to protect water quality of our rivers and increase the understanding of riverfly populations to help conserve habitats. The Riverfly Monitoring Initiative is a vital tool for assessing the health of freshwater ecosystems. This scheme aims to provide a simple, standardised monitoring technique that anyone can use to detect any severe river quality changes and allow us to respond to pollution events. Before you begin, you want to make sure that you have all of the necessary equipment needed. You're going to need some wellies or waders, a kick sampling net, a bucket to carry samples, a white tray, some spoons and pipettes, an ID chart, and at least one buddy. Now we're ready to head down to the river to the sites that we want to sample. We're going to start off with a 3-minute kick sample. We enter the stream and place the net against the riverbed downstream from where we're standing and begin to shuffle our feet to agitate the sediment underneath. We're trying to release these invertebrates into our net downstream. We're allowing the sediment to flow into the net and we need to be careful when we lift it out of the water so we don't lose any. Your buddy will start a 3-minute timer and pause the timer whenever you stop kicking. You want to make sure that you're getting different sections of the river, faster and slower flowing water, and all the way across from bank to bank, as different invertebrates like different microhabitats. Once we've finished the 3-minute kick sample, we then do a 1-minute marginal sweep. Go around the edges of the river, pick up some rocks and rinse them off in the net. You can also run your hands along some of the roots and overhanging plants and allow anything that falls off to flow into your net. We're trying to reach all of the microhabitats within the stream. Now we're ready to release our invertebrates that we've caught into a bucket. Make sure we've got water in the bucket to begin with, then turn your net inside out and really check it over to make sure that you're not missing any of the invertebrates that might be hanging onto the net. We can already see that we've got loads of life in here and we're ready to process our sample. By transferring our content into a white tray, this allows everything to spread out and makes it much easier to see everything once our water's settled. We want to have a look at what's moving around and try and pick out the different species that we've got. We can also divide them up into a smaller tray to make it easier to count. There are 8 main groups that we need to look for as indicators of water quality. The first ones are our cased caddisfly larvae. These guys generally make cases out of the natural substrate that you see, and you can see a head and legs protruding out, so they might look a little bit like a sort of moving stick. Then we've got our caseless caddisflies. These are basically the same sort of animals, but they don't have their cases. We can see 3 pairs of legs up near the top of the head, a longer segmented body, and then 2 brush-like tails at the end. Next, we've got our ephemeridae, the true mayflies. These have a lighter coloured body and are much longer. Like all mayflies, they have 6 legs and 3 tails. These guys have also got feathery gills along their back that you'll see moving in the water. They generally live in the silt, so they've got shorter legs designed for burrowing and don't swim very well. Next, we've got our flat-bodied mayflies, or Heptagenidae. These have a wide, flat head and the eyes on top. A very clear, triangle-shaped body and generally cling onto the underneath of stones. These can vary a lot in size and coloration, and we had quite a lot in our sample. A different group of the common mayflies are Betidae, or the olives. These have a slim body with a narrower head and a sort of tapered shape. They're generally seen darting about and are pretty small. Our last group of the mayflies is the Ephemeralidae. These are the blue-winged olives, generally very small, and similar to the other olives, but can be ID'd from the small rings or dots along their arms and tails. They also have slightly more of an hourglass shape. Then we've got our stoneflies. They have 2 long antennae and 2 long tails and no gills along their backs, so they should be relatively easy to distinguish from our mayflies. We also generally see them crawling around rather than swimming. And our last group is the freshwater shrimp, or Gammarus. These have all of their legs turned onto one side of their body and are curled around, and they're generally quite fast swimmers. Their size can vary a lot, see them really small or really big. In a healthy river, we'd expect to find riverfly larvae all year round. They're very sensitive to changes in water quality, so if the numbers are low, it can indicate that there's a problem. They're seen as the canaries of our rivers. Being low on the food chain, a drop in their numbers is going to have a knock-on effect to the entire ecosystems. Hopefully this video has been useful and you feel comfortable to go out and find a local Riverfly monitoring group that you can volunteer with.